Darth Dawkins is an internet personality and apologist who is popular for his kind of debating strategy that he uses. He uses a tactic called presuppositionalism, which is essentially a big version of begging the question, where he assumes the very thing he's supposed to be proving and then uses a series of rhetorical devices and emotional manipulation to try and browbeat his opponent into admitting his conclusion as well. So what we're going to do is take a look at and break down some of these tactics in this video. Let's get to it then. This flowchart shows the general strategy used by Darth. The first thing he does is he'll ask, what is X on your worldview? If the answer is God, and you're a Christian, he'll probably tell you why you aren't a real Christian. And then, after a while, he'll go to calling you a lying scumbag, muting you, gaslighting you, and banning you. If your answer is not God, then he'll just reject whatever answer you have given. If you've been through this cycle a few times, then he might go to the ultimate goal of the conversation, which is to call you a lying scumbag, mute you, gaslight you, then ban you. If you're not on the nth iteration of this loop, then he might try some emotional manipulation, such as saying, don't you feel stupid that you think that? Or resort to some metaphysical mumbo-jumbo, such as asking you what your ultimate is, or if you have a concrete one or a concrete many. And then he will restate the initial question, what is X on your worldview? Let's go to some examples then. Chapter 1, Begging the Question, or God Smuggling. So by begging the question, the way that Darth does this is he will ask the question, what is your ultimate or what is concrete on your worldview?
Implicitly, what is your ultimate frame of reference when you speak forth facts and that they possess intelligibility? What is it that ultimately institutes all possibility and impossibility?
Matter
is it
and
singular
energy.
or is it a plurality?
Plurality.
Is it how do you know that it's a plurality as opposed to it is something that's singular?
We have a methodology to differentiate between imagination and reality.
That's gobbledygook what you just said. When you invoke a fact is only going to exist ultimately within the ultimate context that it's derived from. Is that what is ultimate?
Yes, matter and energy and motion.
All Darth means by ultimate or concrete is God. He's basically just asking, where is God in your worldview? And if your worldview doesn't have God in there, he goes, well, that's wrong, you see, because there's no God. So where is God in your worldview? And he just repeats this cycle over and over again.
Are you aware of the fact that you cannot have a plurality that are ultimate? You can only have something that is singular. That is ultimate.
Which law of physics? Like, I know of no law of physics.
No, I'm not discussing physics right now. Okay, I'm discussing metaphysics.
Okay, based on which law of metaphysics is
okay, now, okay, listen, I'm talking about, I didn't say a law of metaphysics. I said metaphysics. Now,
right.
That's incoherent.
What is?
Okay, I'm going to explain to you why. No, it is completely incoherent to have two or more a plurality, okay? Because if we have two things and you claim they're ultimate, then they would exist independently each other. There is no grand ultimate unifier that institutes and secures them. So they would simply exist independent of each other, all right? And so therefore, neither...
It seems like Darth's basic objection to this is that, well, if what you're saying is right, T-Jump, then there's no God. So, where's God? We need God. Chapter 2, Not Accepting Answers, or Let Me Tell You What You Think and Why You're Wrong. Now, when Darth Dawkins asks his questions, often people will give him legitimate responses, but that come to different conclusions than the conclusions that he's reached. Now, Darth will never accept someone's answers if they do not involve God. So if someone gives a naturalist answer or a Platonist answer, he's going to not accept that whatsoever, even if it's completely legitimate. The reason I call this let me tell you what you think and why you're wrong is because often this isn't done in a charitable way where he's actually dealing with and criticizing what his opponent has said, but he takes what they've said and he says, no, this is what you're saying, and distorts it and builds up a straw man and then just tears that straw man down.
Darth, what were you saying?
I've heard you make up stuff all the time. It could be this, it could be this, that, whatever. I'm not really interested in your fantasies. I want to know what the ontological context of I thinking is as a fact.
What do you mean by
context? Believe that fact?
So I would say that a fact is true if it corresponds to reality. So I would say context.
You're not addressing my question.
Okay? Well, I don't know how to. I don't know what you mean.
Does a fact? You don't know what context means?
Well, I think, therefore, I am. My mind could be purely physical. It could
be. I want to know. I want to know. Yeah, you keep on repeating yourself. I want to know.
It could be lots of different things. So it could.
No, you do need to answer the question.
I will. So this is just context. I'm just giving context here. So. I think, therefore, I could be in an idealistic universe where consciousness is fundamental. That could be the fundamental thing.
I'm not asking you to speculate.
This is just me giving context. I'm going to answer your question. Just give me like 2 minutes. It doesn't matter which one of those.
I don't need a lecture. Now, I want to know the context that provides metaphysically for the fact in question, and it's
so then after rejecting the answer that's given and being rude and emotionally manipulating them, which we'll talk about in a second, he just restates the same question, asking them, now I want you to tell me, where is God in your worldview?
You said that. I ignored your gobbledygook response.
No. So
that is not an answer. That is not an answer to my question. That was a deceptive. Okay, stop over talking me. That was a deceptive response on your part, trying to bamboozle me and bamboozle the
line of reasoning that you give me, because I have to.
Yeah, that's not an answer to my question. Now, the ice is cracking. You're on thin ice. I suggest you start being truthful.
Could be made for many different religions and for many different different deities. So my sort of classical theism.
That's false.
Chapter 3: Definitions that no one else uses. So another thing that Darth will do is he'll use definitions of words that sort of maybe work for his worldview, but not always, but in a completely different way to how anyone else would normally use them, in an attempt to try and deny people from having their use of language or a different opposing worldview.
Yeah, essentially. So, like, if we have two
particles, then if they're brute facts, okay, then if your array of particulars are brute facts, then they're not ultimate. Chance would be ultimate then.
No, chance would just
brute facts. Brute facts, by definition, are facts that simply are without any identifiable explanation whatsoever. They just are. They just happen to be.
Yeah, identifiable.
So then, by definition, they would not be ultimate. So, do you believe in it? Do you believe?
Go back. What is your definition of ultimate?
Do you believe? Shut up.
Wait, you said brute facts.
You're such a motor mouth. Listen to me.
I'm trying to ask for clarification. I want to know.
Okay, yeah. That's not that. Reality is an abstraction.
What? Reality is just everything that exists.
Is reality something that is concrete or an abstraction?
Concrete.
Good. Is that reality that you say is a concrete? Is it a concrete one or a concrete many?
Many.
What?
Many.
Okay. Reality is not a concrete one. It's a concrete many. So when you say reality and as a one, that's an abstraction.
In that
reality now is an abstraction. It's an abstraction of a mental set of unconnected, unrelated particulars. Okay? So
Chapter 4: Emotional Manipulation. So one of the ways that Darth will try to coerce you into accepting his nonsense is with emotional manipulation, equivalent to just basically bullying. He'll just call you names, stupid, shouldn't you be embarrassed for what you think, threats, slander, all that sort of stuff. And it's just basically trying to warp and distort you emotionally into just accepting his nonsense BS as a good, sound argument when it isn't. It's perhaps also worth mentioning that when I was compiling clips to make this video, that actually this strategy of Darth's is one of his most frequently used.
Matter and energy and motion.
No, listen, dude, I've listened to enough of your debates. I find it really
pathetic. I'm trying to answer your question. I'm not sure.
Offering. Please do not overtalk me. Okay.
I don't think so. Like, could you explain it to me? Like, because when I say context, I'm
really, do me a favor. Don't play dumb.
I'm not playing dumb.
I believe.
Go back. What is your definition of ultimate?
Do you believe? Shut up.
Wait, you said
you're such a motor mouth. Listen, dude. Do you think I'm stupid?
Yes.
Reality. Listen to me. Aren't you embarrassed right now?
No.
You're giving me. Listen to me. You should be. You are giving me gobbledygook. For somebody who does a bazillion YouTube videos, who debates and argues all the time, you're not sounding too smart right now. That is not an answer to my question. Okay, stop over talking me. That was a deceptive response on your part, trying to bamboozle me and bamboozle the audience. Now, listen, dude, did you get my warning about what if you lie to me?
Yep.
Now, do you see what a deceitful human being is? Dude, you have a terrible problem with listening and focusing. Okay? None of what you just said in the last couple of minutes, and even just now, is an answer to my question.
Chapter 5. Metaphysical Mumbo Jumbo. So the few times that Darth does attempt to provide some kind of an argument for his reasons, he tends to dress everything up in kind of metaphysical mumbo jumbo nonsense terminology that doesn't mean anything, and just arguments that don't make any sense whatsoever.
I'll explain it to you. Do you believe that a fact can be invoked as actual and intelligible without context?
I'm not sure what that means. So,
are you aware of the fact that you cannot have a plurality that are ultimate? You can only have something that is singular, that is ultimate. So reality is not a concrete one; it's a concrete many. So when you say reality, and as a worldview is all-encompassing, okay? A worldview entails all of your network of interconnected web of beliefs, including your most foundational belief as to what is ultimate in reality, from which all possibility and impossibility is instantiated and sustained.
Chapter 6. Being a Horrible Bastard. Now, the conclusion of basically any interaction with Darth Dawkins essentially results in him just slandering, insulting, and I think this is basically what he does all day. I mean, if you go to the Discord server where him and some of his followers kind of dwell, basically they have moderation power, so you'll go in and talk, and it's just this constant cycle. So as soon as you go in, he'll be just finishing up talking to someone, he'll have muted them, and he'll be slandering them. He'll be saying, oh, you're this, you're that, da 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 da, and then boom, ban them. And then someone else will just say something, and then it'll be, you have no ultimate, you're a deceitful, lying scum. They'll get muted because he's got the power. It's like the Stanford prison experiment, where the guards get the power and they begin to abuse it in there. And the ultimate conclusion of every interaction with Darth Dawkins is this.
You are
continue with your
listen. No, we're done. Listen to me. Listen to me. You are a scumbag. You are a deceitful scumbag. Listen to me. You are a deceitful scumbag. I am asking you legitimate questions.
And I answer legitimately.
Okay, listen to me. No, listen to me.
Yes.
You are a lying scumbag.
No, I answer
okay, I'm going to
legitimately.
call you out. This is going to go to YouTube. You are a fast talker. You want to ask him a question? You can go to a different room with him. We're done with this lying scumbag, okay? I am not going to bend over backwards and treat somebody like they're an honest player when they've already been on record over a dozen times lying through his teeth.
To be honest, there's many more tactics that Darth will employ. For example, his double standards when it comes to moderation, the way he'll treat others when he has mod privileges, or when he's treated according to the same standards and gets muted for interrupting and stuff, the way that he goes off and insults people and complains and moans, things like that. Really harmful views when it comes to science and politics, his kind of views around coronavirus. There's various videos of him denying the science and evidence around that, saying, you know, only 10 people will die or whatever, calling some guy who's a doctor, like saying he doesn't know anything at all. His views when it comes to organizations, movements like Black Lives Matter and racism. I suppose the real question for Darth, if he watches this, would be how many people has he converted to Christianity, and how many people has he deconverted with the way he conducts himself? And I'm guessing deconversions are going to be a lot higher. And I would say that, you know, if people are going to engage with this guy, just know what to expect and don't take him seriously. I mean, he deserves to be ridiculed and not taken seriously at this point. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe below. Also, all the links are in the description box for everything like Discord and Twitter. I do have a Patreon, but yeah, my video quality probably isn't worth paying for, as you've seen from my editing skills throughout. But thank you for watching.